He's a gamer.
Just somebody that's going to take advantage of every opportunity they get.
In 2025, Traeshon Holden finally got the call.
I'm here, and I'm ready to make it happen.
He signed with the Dallas Cowboys. But check this out. Just 2 years before any of that, Traeshon Holden was sitting in the jail cell, dead sure his career was already over. We're gonna break down his whole story, from the handcuffs to spitting on a guy live on national TV to a $3,000 secret buried in his Cowboys deal. But before we get into that, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. And with that, let's go. So I want you to picture this. It's the middle of the night, February 2023 in Eugene, Oregon, and Traeshon Holden is finally exactly where he's always wanted to be. He just landed at the University of Oregon, a transfer, a clean slate, and after years of grinding, years of moving from city to city, this is supposed to be the place where it all finally comes together. And he has no idea that in a few hours, all of it is going to be gone. Because somewhere in those early morning hours, a dispute breaks out. Now, we don't know every single detail of what happened in that exact moment, but by the time the police are done, Traeshon Holden is in handcuffs. He's facing 3 charges, 2 of them felonies, and the police report from that night even alleges he pulled a gun on someone. So think about what that does to a 21-year-old who just stepped on campus. This isn't just an arrest, it's a headline. Within hours, his name is everywhere, sitting right next to words like felony and a weapon. And the school he just transferred to, they don't even wait to hear his side. They don't wait for a court date. That same day, Oregon dismisses him from the team. He moved across the entire country for this one shot, and before he plays a single down, before he even pulls the jersey over his head, it's gone. He's in a cell, the dream's over, his name getting dragged through the mud in front of the whole country. Here's what he said later about being in there. At one point, I did think it was over, but I knew once everything came out and once it was found that what they had said was false, that I was gonna be okay. And that's exactly what happened. The Lane County District Attorney pulled the body cam footage. They talked to the people who were actually there that night, and the version on that police report fell apart. According to the DA, Holden wasn't the aggressor. He was the one trying to calm everything down. The whole thing spiraled out of control fast, and if anything, he would have had every right to protect himself and the people with him. So they dropped it. Every single charge gone. It was crazy because I had never been in trouble before, Holden said, but the truth came out and everything came out. His lawyer would say that Holden did nothing wrong, the evidence proved it, and he deserved to have his name back. 10 days, that's all it took. 10 days after Oregon threw him off the team, they brought him right back, cleared and exonerated. But he still hadn't played a single snap. His name had already been all over the national news, and he was right back where he'd been his whole life, having to prove all over again that he belonged. So how does a kid even end up in a moment like that? To understand it, you've got to go back to the beginning. Traeshon Holden was born on August 12, 2001 in Kissimmee, Florida, just outside Orlando. And almost from the start, his life came down to one thing: moving. Most kids who make the NFL grow up in one town, one high school, the same friends from kindergarten to graduation. Not this kid. By the time Holden was 18, he'd already moved across the country twice, both times for football. His junior year, he leaves Florida for Baltimore and a national powerhouse called St. Francis Academy. He balls out, 39 catches, over 700 yards, 10 touchdowns. Then his senior year, he does it again. This time clear across the country to Narbonne High in Harbor City, California. New coast, new team, brand new everybody. And in just 7 games, he grabs 31 catches and 7 more touchdowns. So every single year, he's the new face, walking into a locker room full of strangers and proving from scratch that he belongs. Nobody hands him a spot. He has to go take it every single time. And the talent was never the question. Holden was a 4-star recruit, one of the best receivers in California, with offers from Clemson, Florida, USC, Oregon, just about everybody. He could have gone anywhere. And having to walk in over and over again as a new guy, having to prove yourself, is something he's gonna have to do for the next 6 years. So where does a kid like that go? He bets on himself the hardest way you can and heads to Alabama. He commits in March of 2019, and you've got to understand what Alabama was back then. Not just a football school, a receiver factory, the place that turned out first-round picks year after year. Walking in there meant lining up every day against the best receivers in the country. And Holden, he jumped straight in. And at first, the bet looks perfect. As a true freshman in 2020, he wins a national championship, a ring in year one. But he didn't catch a single pass that whole season. Not one. Why? Because the two guys in front of him were DeVonta Smith and Jaylen Waddle, both future top picks in the NFL draft. So Holden waited, he watched, and he learned. And the very next year, he's back in another national championship game. This one against Georgia. 2 title games in 2 seasons. Most players never get one, but the playing time he was chasing never really came. 3 years at Alabama, buried behind all that talent, and Holden had his flashes, a catch here, a touchdown in the Iron Bowl there, but he was never the main guy. And for someone who spent his whole life taking what was his, sitting and waiting wasn't the plan. So he makes another bet. After the 2022 season, he jumps into the transfer portal, looking for a place that'll finally let him be the #1 option. And he lands in Oregon, the same place that jail cell was waiting for him at. So now you've got the full picture. He bet everything on a fresh start at Oregon and nearly lost it all before he played a single down. But he got cleared, and now it was finally time to show what all that moving actually built. And he didn't waste it. His first season with the Ducks, 2023, Holden carves out a real role. He plays every game, sets career highs, and helps Oregon to a 12-2 season. But 2024 is the year it all comes together. By then, Oregon had jumped into the Big Ten, one of the toughest conferences in football, and Holden catches 45 passes for 718 yards. He helps lead the Ducks to a perfect 13-0 regular season and the Big Ten title in their very first year in the league, and he's named honorable mention all-conference. Over his 2 years at Oregon, he stacks up 82 catches, 1,170 yards, and 11 touchdowns. The kid who got cut before he ever played a snap had turned himself into one of the best receivers on one of the best teams in the country. He's heading into the draft with real momentum. And then he does the one thing the whole country sees. It's October 12th, 2024, Oregon versus Ohio State. A top 3 showdown, primetime, the kind of game where every scout in the league is watching. And in the middle of it, Holden loses his cool. He spits on an Ohio State cornerback. The officials catch it, eject him on the spot, and he's suspended for the next game. And look, there's no spinning this one. It was a bad look, and Holden knew it. His head coach said flat out there's no place for this in football. But Holden didn't hide from it. He owned it. He apologized, called it a mistake, and said he'd been learning from it ever since. And then comes the rematch. January 1st, 2025, the Rose Bowl. That same cornerback lined up right across from him. And Holden plays the best game of his entire life. 7 catches, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. But by the time the draft rolls around, the doubt had already piled up. Scouts loved his size and his hands, but they questioned his speed. He ran a 4.57 at the combine, which isn't the number teams look at for that position. They questioned whether he could handle press coverage in the NFL. And the spitting, plus that earlier arrest, that was sitting right there over his record. A real talent with a stack of question marks, and the question marks are what made him fall. But here's the secret that flipped the whole entire thing. While 31 other teams looked at Holden and saw a flawed prospect with a couple of red flags, one team didn't have to guess about him at all, because they had just hired the one person on the planet who knew exactly who he was. His name is Junior Adams. For 2 full seasons at Oregon, Adams was Holden's receiver coach. He knew the talent, the work ethic, and the real person behind the headlines. And in February of 2025, right before the draft, the Dallas Cowboys hired Junior Adams to coach their receivers. So while the rest of the league was reading a scouting report, Dallas had the actual man who'd spent 2 years building this kid, and Adams had already made him a promise. He told me if he got a chance to come get me, he was coming to get me, Holden said. He knows he's got a dog. So while 31 teams were guessing, one team had a coach that already knew. April 2025, the NFL draft. And this is the part that stings. One by one, Holden's Oregon teammates start hearing their names called. A record 10 Ducks get drafted that year. 10. And Holden, he watches pick after pick go by. 3 full days of it, and his phone never rings. Not the first round, not the 7th, nothing. He goes completely undrafted. Holden would say, I was hurt. That 24-hour rule, I was hurting. Once it's over, the undrafted calls come in. A few teams want him, but one of them has Junior Adams. So the choice is easy. Holden signs with the Dallas Cowboys. And the deal tells you just how far he had fallen. No guaranteed money and a signing bonus of $3,000, the lowest number of the entire team. After a national title, after 1,170 yards, after that Rose Bowl, that's what an NFL team was willing to risk on him. $3,000. His reaction told you everything. I feel disrespected, so now it's time to make it happen. Prove everybody wrong, everybody. I'm coming for heads. That's it. And Dallas didn't bring him in just to be nice. There was a real opening. The Cowboys had a new coaching staff in the receiver room with two big names at the top, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. But behind them, things were a lot less settled, and there were real snaps up for grabs. And Holden fit a specific role. At 6'3" with strong hands and the big catch radius, he's the kind of long physical receiver who can win on the outside, fight for contested balls, and block in the run game. Some Cowboy analysts even compared his game to former fan favorite Michael Gallup, and he had something no other rookie had. He already knew his receivers coach. He knew exactly what Adams wanted, and he had a guy in the building who already believed in him. While every other rookie was building those relationships from scratch, Holden was walking into something that already felt like home. So think about everything it took to get here. Moving across the country twice as a kid, getting buried behind future stars at Alabama, a jail cell, and a name dragged through the dirt. One mistake the whole country saw, and every single NFL team passing on him for 3 days straight. After all that, Holden finally had got his shot. And in training camp, he grabbed it. He became the talk of Cowboys camp. Fans fell in love with the guy. He's making highlight catches, scoring touchdowns, and in the preseason opener against the Rams, he led the whole team in receiving yards. For a kid nobody drafted, he was suddenly the name everybody was saying. But it wasn't that simple. When final cuts came on August 26, Dallas waived him. After all that, he was cut again. Except this time, it doesn't end there. He clears the waivers, and the moment he does, the Cowboys bring him right back and sign him to the practice squad. He spends the season there doing the work nobody sees, and in January of 2026, Dallas signs him to a future contract, keeping him around for the next season. So now the picture's clear. He has a full healthy offseason in front of him and a real shot to make this roster and earn the role. And Holden sees it all the same way he's seen everything else so far. Everything happened this way for a reason, he said. From a $3,000 bet that nobody else wanted to make to a star on the side of his helmet, the kid who never stopped moving is still doing the same thing he's always done, walking in and earning it. Traeshon Holden, number 80, a Dallas Cowboy, and at 24 years old, he's about to get things started. If you enjoyed this one, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And with that, I'm out. Peace.